Hello everyone, Kyle with Confident Canines here, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Prong Collars. This is a tool that we use very frequently in our training program. We know a lot of people have some skepticism about them or are a little concerned about safety or how it might affect their dog, so we just want to talk about why we use them and how they work, how to get a good fit for the one that your dog and the ones that we use as well. This is the one that we most commonly would use. This is a small Herm Springer, 2.25 millimeter. It says Springer here on the plate and up here on top too. So these are the ones you want to make sure that you get. These are made in Germany. You'll probably have to order them online. I haven't seen them in stores before, but they're widely available online, probably $20 to $30 depending on what size you need. The reason that we like these, or one reason that we like these, is that you can see it's stainless steel all the way around, and these are rounded tips on the prongs. So that is a big concern for a lot of people is, how is this going to cut the dog or hurt the dog? A lot of the ones that you'll see in the stores will have just a cross-cut edge there, and it'll be kind of more jagged than this. This is nice and rounded, so definitely these are the ones that we recommend using. Alright, so like I said, this is a 2.25 millimeter or a small, and this is for dogs that, not your toy breeds like your Yorkies or anything like that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Up to probably 50 or 55 pounds. It really depends on the size of the dog and the size of the dog's neck. What you want to make sure is that you have at least, I would say, like 7 links. So if you're using a medium and you're not able, and you have like 5 or 6 links, I would go down to a small. Because the more links that you have, then the more easily that you can influence the dog, and the more that they're going to feel the pressure. Otherwise, half of it's just going to be this chain up here, and that's not going to be as productive because that's just going to be like a choke chain. So, the way that we open and close it, see, this can be a little tricky to start, but it gets really easy. Just push on the prongs a little bit and snap them into place like that. And then to open it, just slide it up like that. So, it can be a little tricky to start, but you get to where you can do it, no problem. Well, I say that. There we go. And then to talk about the two rings up here. So this D ring here is where you're actually going to attach your leash. A lot of people want to put it on this O ring here. We call this the dead ring. And this does have a function, but that is not where we want to put our leash. We want to make sure that when we put it on the dog like that, right, that we've got the leash up here. So we've got nice, smooth action. We'll show this on a dog in a minute too. But if we put it here, it's going to get jumbled up here at the bottom. You see that? So that's no good. But it's very common to put it on that O-ring or that dead ring, so we want to make sure we avoid that. And while we're here, I can go ahead and show. This is a 3 millimeter, so this is a medium. A little bit tougher to open and close, but you can do it for sure. And the same thing up here, the rings are just a little bit bigger. This is the biggest size that we use. They do make a large and an extra large, but that is not necessary in our experience for anything. If you do have a small dog, a really small dog, like a Dachshund or a Yorkie or something like that, where a small won't even cut it, this is not a Herm Springer brand, but it's still pretty good. You can still see the edges there are pretty rounded, and it's still effective. Also on this one there are just 2 circular rings. There's no D ring, so you're just going to have to make sure you get the one on top that makes it into that nice triangle, not the one on bottom like that. But it works the same way, and it's still a pretty good quality. These, the Herm Springers you can get all over the place. These I know you can get on Pawmark.com. You might be able to get them elsewhere, but that's where we get them because that's the only place I know. We recommend also always using one more piece of hardware, and this is just a standard 3-inch carabiner that you can get for like $1 at Home Depot or wherever, online probably. And this is where the dead ring comes into play. So when we actually put it on the dog, we're going to put the carabiner on the dead ring and then attach this to our dog's flat buckle collar. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But this is just a little bit of a cheap insurance policy. That way, just in case, if you were putting this on and for whatever reason you only got one prong and you didn't realize it and you take your dog outside, this can really easily just snap open like that. So then, if that happens, you're still connected to your dog and you can put your prong collar back on. You don't have to do this, and if you're confident that your dog isn't going to run off, should its prong collar come off, then that's fine. But if you're training a dog who's prone to getting distracted and chasing squirrels or something like that, you don't want your prong collar to come off and your dog to just take off. So that'll make it a lot more safe to take your dog out. So we definitely recommend that. That's something we do on all our training dogs. And I always just keep one attached to the leash handle. That way, if you start to forget, it's there to remind you. So let's see. From here, we can go ahead and show how to put on a dog. We've got Harley over here in our training program doing really well, and so she's in place over here, rocking it without any leash, just on the e-collar. So, Harley, let's go. Good girl. So she's been working on it small, and we're going to talk a little bit about fit now. So I'll take your e-collar off for now to make it a little bit easier. Alright, so again, I like to take it off just here at the top. You can really do it any one that you find comfortable, but for me, just doing the first one here, I'm right-handed, so it's just easy for me to open and close it like that. Alright, girl. Alright, so I've got my prong collar on the dog. So now I've got my D-ring here. That's where I'm going to put my leash in a second. And I've got my dead ring down here. So I want to make sure I get the carabiner into the dead ring. Come on, girl. Come on.
Our dog is melting.
We picked a pretty slow moving dog for this.
Going for a ditch.
And then I'm going to hook it here. She's got just a flat buckle collar on. No good for training purposes, but it has her ID tags, and it's going to help hold on to that. So that way, like I said, well, I'll show you in a second when I put the leash on. So then from here, put the leash onto there. So it just takes a few seconds. Looks like kind of a lot, but it really doesn't take that much. And you can see this is all nice. What I don't want either is to kind of come under here and kind of get this, you know, kind of mixed up too, because then this will be pulling across like that. So I want to make sure I have it clear, a clear pathway there. And then I have my nice triangle when I pull up on the leash. Alright, let's go. So now, if I take my dog out, and uh-oh, my prong collar comes off, and it doesn't happen often, but it can, I'm still attached. Now I don't want to finish my walk like this, but at least I can come and get my dog resituated, yes, and move on from there. Good girl. So this doesn't, this isn't really a video to show you, how to train with a prong collar. We're going to continue with that in another video. But this is just kind of showing you how to set up, how to get the right fit, the right size. See you later, Harley. And talk a little bit about, why we use prong collars, which we haven't really covered yet. So the reason that we use prong collars in general is because they're just the most effective and the least amount of force in our experience to use for most dogs. We use them on like 99% of dogs. Small, we've used dachshunds, Chihuahua, whatever, any kind of dog. It seems like it's going to be too forceful and kind of barbaric, but it's actually incredibly gentle. When we're training dogs, we're actually just training them with like 2 fingers and just using really light leash pops. Whereas with a flat buckle or a slip lead even, or even a choke chain, a lot of times you're going to have to put a lot of pressure on the dog, and then that even puts more pressure on the dog's like trachea, and that's when you get that kind of like hacking that a lot of people see when they're walking dogs that are pulling, and the dog's like, ha, ha, ha. That's because they're just putting pressure right there constantly. Whereas this is a uniform pressure all the way around, and it's also very gentle, so we don't get any type of like coughing or hacking or choking or anything with this tool. So it really is the most effective and gentlest tool that you can use, and it works great. You'll train a dog to walk, in like 5 minutes if you can use it properly, which we'll show in another video. But that's a little bit about what prong collars are and how to use them and why we use them. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, and we will definitely get back to you or make another video to answer it. So thanks for checking us out, and have a good one.